Christopher, great to be with you here today. While we're filming this video, the Super Bowl is about to happen. And one of the things everybody gets excited about with the Super Bowl are the commercials, right? Don't we all love the commercials? They're a lot of fun, all that thing. But one of the things, when I think of the Super Bowl commercials, one of the things that always happens is on display is kind of the culture's broken display of masculinity. You get a lot of beer commercials, and you get the guys bumping chests and all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, I mean,
and the babes in the bikinis,
of course,
and all that.
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah. So, I want to press into that a little bit. This idea, we're really struggling in this time. I mean, we always have as humans, but in our day and age, we've got a particular struggle with just understanding masculinity and femininity to begin with. So we can't talk about all of that, but I want to talk about this, how hard it is to know what it means to be a man, because what's on display everywhere is either a real false, I'll call it a hyper-masculinity, but it's really not authentic masculinity, but kind of over-exaggeration, caricature of masculinity, which is that kind of, over beer drinking, huge muscles, and kind of stupid also, right. Doesn't really know what's going on, and, looking at the ladies and all that. Or an elimination of masculinity, or a feminization of masculinity, where we see in lots of different cases. It could be in the homosexual kind of sphere, but it could also just be, hey, if you're a sensitive guy, or you're artistic, or you love music in a certain way, then you're somehow not quite a man, or you're less than a real man. And both of those are real lies.
It reminds me of real struggles I had as a teenager in the 80s when I was coming into masculinity, trying to figure out what does it mean to be a man. And I remember I had these deep insecurities when I was in the presence of other men who I thought were more manly than I was. Well, where did I even get that impression? They're more manly. Images, movies, magazines, TV shows, all of these impressions, like however many hundreds of thousands of impressions on my brain of the culture saying, this is what it means to be a man. And in my mind, it can be different for different guys, but the image that got into my mind was like the muscle-bound quarterback who had the cheerleaders fawning over him. And sure enough, when the quarterback in my high school would walk past me in the hallway, I would just like, womp, 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 womp. Because if that's what it means to be a man, I know I'm not that. I can't do that. I'm not like that. Yeah. Therefore, in my mind, I'm less of a man. Yeah. And I remember even a kind of attraction, like, I want what you have. Can I get it from you? And years later, when I was studying human development and took a real interest in God's plan for sexuality, and I was studying and reading about it, I remember coming upon the work of Leanne Payne. She's an Episcopalian woman. She's now deceased, but she really laid the groundwork for so much of what I would call the pastoral application of John Paul II's Theology of the Body. And she talked about homosexual desire as kind of a cannibal compulsion. Well, that's kind of, what does she mean? It
sounds pretty harsh.
Yes, it sounds kind of harsh. Well, cannibals will eat the people they admire because they believe they will acquire their traits. I take you into me, I get your traits. Right? And she used this as an analogy, like if you talk to the male homosexual about his fantasy life, he imagines himself uniting with whatever in his mind and heart he has come to conceive of. This is what it means to be a man. I want it, I want to take it into me. I can understand that based on my own insecurities as a boy, a teenager. And I remember I had this experience when I was 23 years old. There's this woman who sat behind me. I was fresh out of college, one of my first jobs. She was in a cubicle behind me. And I remember this one day, she was talking on the phone to a friend about this dream she had of this muscle-bound stud who rode up on the beach on a white stallion and hopped off a stallion and made love to her in the waves. And I was like, oh, I don't want to hear this.
Fabio.
It just, the whole thing. And it just tapped into all my insecurities. And she used to hang like posters of Chippendale dancers and stuff in her cubicle. And I would avoid it like the plague.
Sure.
And I had one of the most important experiences of my young adult life that day. I saw an image of this muscle-bound guy walking down the beach that she was describing. Mm-hmm. And next to him was another man, but nothing drew me to look at him at all. In fact, I wanted to look away because he was covered with scourge marks and had a crown of thorns on and was a man of suffering and sorrow. Mm. And I heard this voice just in my heart. Who is the real man? Mm. And with whom do you wish to identify? And it crystallized for me right there. That image in my mind's eye crystallized my kind of neurotic insecurity around other men who fit more the standard of what it meant to be a man, because I had posited my identity in this false image of masculinity. And I was convicted. I was like, oh my Jesus, you are the real man. You are the real man. Forgive me for choosing to identify with this false image. Mm-hmm. If you're what it means to be a man, I want to be like you. There was a conversion in my heart. I said, Jesus, I choose to identify with you. It was a real conversion moment in my journey. And I also felt right then, oh my gosh, if I choose to identify with this man as a real man, then this is how I'm going to be treated too. But the truth was enough, the conviction that that is really what it means to be a man was enough to say, oh, give me the grace, Lord, and I'll endure it.
Yeah, because it's not about, at that point, I mean, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because Jesus, so who do we go to for manhood? It's Jesus. And in manhood, masculinity, it's not about, at first, what you said about how I'm going to be treated. That's a block we got to get through.
Right.
It's about finding what gives a life and what breathes life, and this is what masculinity expresses in a unique way, in its own way. That femininity expresses something different, something life-giving as well, but in a different way. To be a man like Christ means to be willing to lay one's life down for the other, for the sake of the other, to be a gift to the other, so that new life is given to the other.
No matter what the price to me.
No matter what the cost.
And that's the scourge marks. That's the crown of thorns. That's what that means.
That's right.
This is his masculine gift. Yeah. He's saying, this is my body given up for you. And he had to pay a high price to make such a gift.
That's right.
And are we willing to learn what it means to pay the price of making that genuine gift? Mm-hmm. When I had that shift in my heart that day, a few days later, I was walking past that girl's cubicle, and I saw those Chippendale dancers in there, and I went in there. She wasn't in her cubicle at the moment. I went in there, and I stared those Chippendales in the face, and I said, wait a minute. Growing up, I thought I should be more like you, but wait a minute. You should be more like me, because I want to be like Christ, and that's what it means to be a man. And doesn't mean I've lived that beautifully and wonderfully ever since. But it was a real important conversion. We desperately need as men, other men to show us what masculinity is and how to live it out. And I'm thinking of what Pilate said when there he was, scourged and beaten. He said, behold
the man.
The man.
Yeah.
That's where we got to go to discover what it means to be men.
Amen. If you want to continue your journey into what it means to be an authentic man, the Theology of the Body can help you do that. Check out our resources and other videos. Stay on the journey with us.